This is Robert Redfern, and this is Natural Healthy Newsletter. Title of the talk today is The Biggest Killer. And you might think, well, the biggest killer must be coronavirus and flu and the big dangers of the world, especially since the Pharma Criminal Cartel are using them as an excuse for mandating vaccination for everyone in the world. Well, you're wrong. It's something that kills more than 20 times more people than the coronavirus flu. Or coronavirus anyway, just let's not call it the flu. The number, along with malnutrition, is the biggest cause of all disease. And this is what I'm talking about there. All good, Pedro tells me. Yes, I asked him to double check me this time. And the biggest cause of all disease in the world is sugar, grains, and cereals. Now, killer carbs are the prime cause of all disease, heart disease, cancers, lung disease, and dozens more. And for 25 years, I've accepted this truth, and I'm hoping that you'll consider this carefully, because when you really take it on board, then you will stop. And let's just have a look at the... There we go. And I found out what stops it sometimes. If I look at that screen there, it stops that screen working. So I know how my slides work now. Nearly a year. Anyway, so the biggest killer of all is carbs and sugars. And the most effective thing anybody can do to help their health recovery from where they are now and to keep it clear, totally clear, is to stop all sugar, carbs and grains. Is that simple? Of course it is. How come you don't know about it? How come the doctors and the government and the education authorities, everybody's telling you, don't eat those, they cause heart disease and cancer and all these things. Why are they not telling you? Do you think they make money? Somebody makes money. Is it the Pharma Criminal Cartel again, having so much influence with politicians? Because you've seen it now. I've gone on about this for 30 years, how they really control the world. And people said, yeah, Robert, it's all very well. But now I think everybody's starting to see the truth. Now, I am going to talk about coronavirus, not on the Facebook live show. I'm just going to stick to natural health things here. I've got another media plan so I don't get banned. You see, the problem is every time I start going on about coronavirus on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere, I start getting banned or shadow banned. That means it looks as though I'm there, but people can't see me. So, as I said, the most effective things anyone can do to get healthy is stop carbs, sugar and grains and cereals. And doesn't this look lovely? Oh God, I could toast some of that and put some butter on it. And honestly, it's addictive. That's why it's so easy to keep you on it. I mean, who's ever walked past a bakery where there's bread being baked or whatever? That it's so addictive. It must be more addictive than anything else, because when you stop, you will go through what people go through when they're withdrawing from drugs. You will go, I've got to have some. You think, stop it for a couple of weeks and tell me that it didn't bother you one little bit. All right, one person might, but the majority of people are going to be really, really upset, because it really, really is, excuse me, a difficult thing to stop. Now, as I said, most people find it unbelievable that it's really, really as toxic as I say. But the truth is there. The number of studies are just absolutely, hundreds of studies show this. It's linked to carbs, grains and cereals and sugar, of course. Now, I put together an article for all the main points why eating sugar, grains and cereals is bad for you. I'm hoping you'll read that, because it's 20 reasons. There are more. I think I've got a list somewhere with 40 reasons. It's important that you take it on board. So let's go through it. For clarity, I'm not including raw sprouted grains and cereals because, as you may or may not know, sprouted seeds, sprouted grains are actually healthy. But I'm talking about eating bread, pastry, biscuits, breakfast cereals, rice, potatoes, parsnips and pasta. So what have we got? The top 20 reasons. So rice, sugar, all grain cereals and white potatoes are what we need to avoid because they're not part of a really healthy diet or lifestyle. I follow a really healthy diet and lifestyle. Why? Because I want to stay healthy, really healthy. I don't want to be a feeble old man. I'm 74, nearly 75 in a couple of weeks. And I don't want to be a feeble old man. So I exercise and, do my exercises every other day. I stand, which I'm standing now. This is my computer. I'd be working at it if I wasn't talking to the camera here. And I just do the right things. Drink water with sodium bicarbonate in it. Sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, is probably the most fantastic cure in the world because it costs pennies a week, not pennies a day even. Because you can buy a container which will last you weeks and weeks and weeks for about 70 cents. So that's the stuff. You've been led to believe, for various reasons, some of them monetary and funded by the food manufacturers, whole grains are actually very similar to the refined grains that you have. They're all the same. Whole grains are bad, refined grains are bad, flour's bad, everything's bad about grains and cereal. Breakfast cereals, rice, potatoes, all of these things, and we need to eliminate them right away, and it's really important. Partly because this is number one, and this is all in my newsletter, so you'll get all this, but you can re-watch this thing here. The newsletter makes more sense to me because I just ramble on, but all grains and cereals, when you cook them or bake them or fry them or anything, are full of the glycemic index. Doesn't matter what you do, the sugar in them is too high for the human body, and this is measured by something called the glycemic index. And all carbs, sugar, there are none that's actually low enough to keep your body healthy. And high blood sugar levels are linked to a multitude of chronic diseases. You must know that. If you don't, then you need to find out. All grains and cereals are full of mycotoxins. Mycotoxins are poisonous substances produced by fungi, which grow in yeast and mould. Grains contain these mycotoxins, and the toxins are linked to numerous diseases, not least Alzheimer's. So that's really important. You get that. Grains and cereals, they contain an improper balance of omega-3s to omega-6s, and that causes inflammation. By adding sugars to it, so if you're having a cake, for argument's sake, that's got grains and cereals, and you put sugar with it, that causes glycation. That's when it damages proteins in the body, damages the walls of our arteries and joints. Arthritis, damaged veins, arteries. That's glycation. That's what happens when you're eating something. Now, there's sugar in grains and cereals already, but if you add sugar, a donut, for argument's sake, must be a weapon of mass destruction. And a nice bun with some icing on, just deathly. Okay. Number 4, you may have heard about this, but our bodies are naturally alkaline, and grains and cereals are acid forming for the body, so they create an acid body. One of the reasons why, and it's a simple thing, but just one thing alone, taking water with every glass of water you drink, 6 glasses of water over the day, that size, and with a quarter teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate, even that starts to reverse your diseases. Just do it every single day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. Just do that. And that will stop some of the acidification. Doesn't stop the fungus, doesn't stop all the other problems. And an acid body leads to calcium loss, which is peed out, and an increased risk of osteoporosis and other diseases again, actually. So when we become acidic, we become diseased. The amount of sugar in carbs causes an over-imbalance of the bacteria in the digestive tract. It doesn't matter, both types actually, but the unfriendly bacteria, because there are unfriendly bacteria, and they're normally kept in check with the friendly bacteria. But when we start eating sugar, then they go out and go crazy, literally. You make them go crazy. You've probably heard me, if you've heard my other talks, that we have over 50% of our body is made out of bacteria, virus and fungus. So as well as in our digestive tract, we're pumping sugar through into our body and upsetting the whole balance of our body, because over 50% of the body is made up of bacteria, virus and fungus. Forget what doctors say, oh, virus is bad and all this, they don't know. Doctors are just trained monkeys, and I'm very sorry if you're a medical doctor, but you are, and it's a shame, and I feel really sorry for you, and especially because you're supposed to be helping people get healthy, and if you don't know the right information, then we have a major problem in our hands, and that's what we've got on our hands, because there's millions of people dying every year from diseases in the world, which are simple to reverse, simple to prevent, I should say, and simple to reverse. So you've got to stop this overgrowth of unfriendly bacteria. Number 6, fruit and vegetables contain more of the vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals, which we need, and these are lacking in grains. So every time you, what I call, displace some food on your plate with grains and cereals, then you're displacing nutrition that you need in your body. Number 7, fruits contain twice as much fibre. Now, fibre is really important in the digestive tract. So it's got twice as much fibre, fruit, as grains and cereals. And non-starchy vegetables, that's your greens, they have 8 times more essential fibre. So you can see, if you're going to have some meat and meat on your plate, don't have potatoes, and just have meat and vegetables, and then for dessert, have some dark-skinned fruits and with some cream on or coconut milk, whatever, perfect. Number 8. Grains and cereals are a poor source of vitamins. They contain no vitamin C or B12, which is a very critical B vitamin, and only trace amounts of folate and biotin and other B vitamins and other B vitamins. Vitamin C is powerful antioxidant, blah, blah, blah. Low levels of B12 and folate lead to increased levels of the amino acid homocysteine, which is the cause of heart disease. There's something in the body called homocysteine, and it's kept in check with the B vitamins. And the minute you have a reduction in B vitamins because you're eating lots of carbs, pizzas, whatever, then you put yourself at greater risk. Number 9, grains and cereals don't provide any calcium, and calcium's essential in the body. But it also forms an insoluble complex with that calcium to stop it. Any calcium that you've got, and it also contains anti-nutrients. Now, anti-nutrients are the opposite of nutrients. I know it sounds really crazy, but they do. There are chemicals that prevent absorption of minerals and nutrients, and they damage the gastrointestinal tract, and also they affect the immune system, because the immune system goes wrong when things can leak into the body through the tract. Number 10, inhibits vitamin absorption. Pyridoxine glucosides block the absorption of B vitamins in the intestines, including B6, which is also related to homocysteine. Vitamin D metabolism is also inhibited by the consumption of grains. Now, you need vitamin D, because anybody with high levels of vitamin D never gets the flu, never gets coronavirus, but even if you did, the recovery rate is almost 100% with people with high levels of D in their body. And it also inhibits the calcium absorption in there. So it's really, we're only at number 10 now, and anybody in the right mind will not ever touch carbs and sugar again and grains and cereals. Number 11, it inhibits mineral absorption. Phytates now this is whole grains. Whole grains are full of something called phytates, and they chemically bond the iron, zinc, copper and calcium within grains, blocking their absorption during the digestive process. So, literally it works against your own body, the health of your own body. Number 12, enzyme inhibitors. Enzyme inhibitors suppress the enzymes that you need to digest food. So, I do take a handful of digestive enzymes every time I have a meal anyway, just to keep the enzymes strong. But the starchy carbs literally suppress the enzymes that you need to, because that's what enzymes do. They break down food so that you can use it to rebuild your body. And it compromises the digestive and places stress on the pancreas. Number 13. This is a crazy one, because the FDA and all the authorities around the world know about this. When you bake or heat or fry carbohydrates, it creates a chemical called acrylamide. And this actually is one of the prime causes of cancer. So they know that if you eat grains and cereals, if you eat chips, potato chips, crisps in the UK. So long since I had one. I forgot what they call the crisps. Toast, roast potatoes, just any of these things, any carbs of any description, barbecued vegetables that have gone black. It literally creates a chemical that damages your body. And it damages your body in all ways, all the diseases, but specifically, it can actually cause cancer. Foods that contain high amounts of this chemical can cause cancer, birth defects, diseases and disorders. It really, everybody needs to stop. Obviously, pregnant mothers need to stop, because it can cause birth defects, just those foods there. You can't eat what you want when you're pregnant. You've got to eat really healthy foods. That's the rule. Anyway. 14. Glutinous proteins. Glutinous proteins are found in grains, and they're responsible for food allergies, intolerances, and sensitivities. If you wonder why you have these problems, grains and cereals, that's why when people stop them, they just cannot believe how well they feel, how little things as well. I think most people have heard of celiac disease, and it's a genetic autoimmune disease affecting the small intestine and lungs. And it may be triggered by eating too many grains early in life or a traumatic event creating stress in the body. But celiac disease is a specific disease. If you see a child with it, they'll be weak and emaciated because they're not absorbing the nutrition. If you see an elderly person with it, almost certainly they'll have fibrosis of the lungs, and they'll be weakened because they can't get oxygen properly. So the only cure for celiac disease is completely avoiding grains and cereals. Anything containing gluten, of course. Number 15, dermatitis herpetiformis. Herpetiformis. I don't particularly know that disease, but it's a skin disease, a form of celiac disease. And avoiding gluten completely clears it. It's as simple as that. Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disease, and it affects the thyroid. Again, gluten must be avoided on the recovery. People come to me and say, oh yes, so I just need some iodine because I've got Hashimoto's or whatever. I say, no, no. All grains and cereals stop as well. You've got to eat a perfect diet, take the perfect nutrients, and avoid all grains and cereals to clear up this. And it does. Number 18, lectins and leaky gut syndrome. Lectins are proteins in grains, and they damage the lining of the intestines. Again, food proteins go through into the bloodstream. It causes autoimmune type problems, and it's called a leaky gut, but it's it's really you're just damaging your own body eating grains and cereals. Number 19. This is one. It's not controversial as such, but at the moment everybody's talking about vaccinations and vaccinations causing autism. I actually believe that it's not one single thing that causes autism. It's eating grains and cereals. It's not having all the nutrients you need, vitamin D and all the others, and also add to that a vaccination that's actually what I call jolts your immune system, and if you're not strong in your immune system with it, you have this problem, and it causes autism. It also causes epilepsy. They're exactly the same formula of unhealthy lifestyle, and then coming along with a vaccination can cause epilepsy as well. We know that because the minute you stop all these grains and cereals, full stop, and both autism and epilepsy goes away. Perfect diet, perfect body, perfect brain. They're all linked together. Last but not least is schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, however you want to say it. Wheat contains a narcotic-like substance which impacts on behaviour. Removing gluten-containing grains and cereals, of course, and it decreases the schizophrenic episode. Of course, there's some minerals that you need as well, which everybody knows about. So I'm not going to talk about the whole plan for that. But if you have the minerals and you stop the grains and cereals, it goes away. That doesn't mean to say you're cured, because you go 6 months, 12 months, and start eating grains and cereals again because you feel so good. It comes back. It's the same with lung fibrosis. Countless people have had great success with my lung plan, and then they just go back eating the grains and cereals, and it comes back again. It shortens your life. Fibrosis of the lungs. It's not very good. But there's all sorts of health complications with grains and cereals: weak immune system, heart disease, cancers, high blood pressure, kidney stones, aggravated asthma, vitamin mineral deficiencies, anemia, hyperinsulinemia, osteoporosis, diabetes type 2, weight gain, increased triglycerides, insomnia, stroke, epilepsy, all the major factors. But lung disease is one of the big ones. I didn't have enough room to even put them all on there, actually, on that particular slide. It's coming off the bottom there. I can't think of a reason to eat grains and cereals unless you sprout them. But very few people want to get into sprouting. But if you're into sprouting, then you can eat them if you sprout them, because when you sprout them, it changes from a grain to a plant. And once it's changed to a plant, that's what we're supposed to be eating: plant-based food plus meat and fish, whatever you want to do, and dark skin. There are alternatives to grains and cereals. They're not actually grains; they're seeds, and quinoa or quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, chia. These are all healthy things. They're seeds actually, but you use them. You can make all sorts of dishes with them, and instead of rice and whatever. So there's no reason, and we have a whole ton of recipes in my reallyhealthyfoods.com, which is our foods site, obviously, Really Healthy Food, but we have huge recipes from breakfast, lunch, dinners, desserts, cakes. Yes, cakes. You can have cake, chocolate cake, wonderful. Sugar-free, carb-free. Just amazing things, my wife will be on the job for Christmas, actually, and because there's a lot of work goes into a big Christmas cake with all the nuts and things and seeds and whatever, and chocolate and whatever. So but Christmas is a special time. You don't have to eat bad stuff at Christmas, by the way. You really don't. It takes a lot of work, though. So if you're a person who's hasn't got the time for all this, then I can understand going to the inexpensive junk food, but that's another matter. So to summarise, you've got a 3-point action to change your life. And I promise you, you will change your life. I mean, you can change your life nearly just by having sodium bicarbonate water. So eliminate all sugar, grains and cereals, and your body will just... Oh, I have mentioned before, actually, a good way to do this is to do a 7-day fast or a 5-day fast beforehand, because then when you go into foods that don't have the sugar, grains and cereals, you feel so that you're so ready to eat that you will go into a nice diet after that. But increase dark skin fruits, berries and non-starchy vegetables. I've shown my pyramid before, I'm not going to here, but it's in all my books that you can download at naturalhealthynews.info. They're all free. You just download the book, read the book, follow the plans, do what you want. You've got to replace grains and cereals and sugar, and experiment with the alternatives such as quinoa, alternative grains there, but they are alternative to grains. But see my reallyhealthyfoods.com for really healthy recipes. And you can like them and then build up your own recipe list in the website there. So you don't have to keep looking through to find something you've done. Once you like it, it's in your list of likes. Remember, strengthen your immune system. And whether you stop kilocarbs or not, the other reason for your immune system will let you down is a lack of essential nutrients. And my light's gone off for that. That's good. There you go. I can't. I'll start again. Whether you stop kilocarbs or not, the other reason your immune system will let you down is a lack of essential nutrients. I think the battery is low on that. Is it? Maybe, I don't know. And you have to have those essential nutrients. No matter what governments or the Pharma Cartel says, the lack of nutrients lead you up to virtually every disease, and it's a fact. And they're not in the food chain. You can't say, oh, well, I'll get all my vitamin D3 from the food. It's just not in the food chain. Unless you eat a lot of fruits and whatever with vitamin C, you won't get that either. It's just safer, especially when these things are going round, to top up on nutrients. We have a whole bunch. This is the vitamin C's there. We have all sorts of vitamin C powders and liposomals. We also have the daily immune protection, which is, if somebody can only afford one thing, the daily immune protection is your best one, because it's got, as well as having a good dose of D3, it's got lots of other things in there. That's olive leaf extract, zinc, because zinc, you probably know that zinc is particularly special, because the doctors were curing coronavirus by giving them intravenous vitamin C and zinc and obviously D3 and selenium. So there you go. You need magnesium. Everybody needs magnesium. You need it whatever else you're taking, whatever else you're eating, because the amount of magnesium in the food chain has reduced by more than half in the last 50 years. So that's why you need it. And so I think that's about it. Not much more I can say, but it's all in the news there, folks. So if you didn't catch all my ramblings, and I like going out and all the rest of it. So I need some staff actually around me, a production team, Okay. Take care. I shall love you and leave you, and I'll be back next week, but I will be in touch because I've got a new website, my uncensored websites, and I've got a lot of news to. So, okay, very good. I shall